one of the most infamous and controversial bands in the world. W.A.S.P, the 40th Never Stops World Tour with special guest, Armored Saint. W.A.S.P live. Go to waspnation.com for tour details and tickets. W.A.S.P, feel the sting.
Welcome. I bid you welcome. This is John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from my music corner of the world, alongside my fellow Dominator, my fellow Burning Man, my fellow Angel hung in black, my fellow man who's done the deal with the devil, John, the Music Nut. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, brother. And I did do the deal with the devil. How are you?
Oh man, I'll tell you what, I did some kind of deal, man. I lost my hair.
You almost cut your hair.
Wow. I did. For those of you who don't know, we actually record these on Sunday. And I named the series W.A.S.P Wednesday to go with the whole W thing. So that's the reason I did the Wednesday. But it works out for us to just record on Sundays. So of course, Mother's Day was on a Sunday, and I was not about to make my co-captain here record on Mother's Day. I was also visiting my family up in Pennsylvania, so I wasn't actually very far from them. But you know, I gotta look respectable for Mom. You know, she just likes me with the shorter hair. So she was very happy to see the short haired John and not the long haired hippie freak, that they sing about and that the 5-man electrical jam sings about. So
yeah.
So there you go. So yeah, I had to look nice for Mom. So that was so there you go. But today it is all about the Dominator album. Now, what can I tell you about Dominator? So Dominator, we have a little bit of change. No longer associated with Rod Smallwood and Andy Taylor of the Sanctuary Productions. He's kind of got his own little team managerial wise going on here. A different label only for this album though. Demolition Records was the one that originally puts it out in 2007. Chart action. Had a little bit of chart action here. Got up to number 35 on the Finland charts, 147 in the French charts, 72 in the German charts, 36 in the Norwegian charts. So thank you, Paul, for getting your country back into W.A.S.P again. And number 40 on the Swedish charts. Yes, so we're getting away from the concept records that we just did of Neon God. And now we turn to a totally different type of lyrical content, maybe a little different than what we had been experiencing. So with that, Mr. John, the Music Nut, take it away with your thoughts about Dominator.
All right. Thank you, John.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, this came out in April 2007. We got Blackie behind the control board again, also doing all the lead vocals, guitar, he's on guitar and on keyboards. We got Mike Duda on bass and backing vocals. We have Mike Dupke on drums, and he does a very good job throughout the album, just to let you know that. A lot of nice fills throughout. And this is the first album where we have Doug Blair. And Doug Blair is still with the band, along with Mike Duda to this day. And he does some excellent guitar work on here. He plays lead guitar on every song, except for the last track, which is Deal with the Devil. We got Daryl Roberts on that. Okay, the album, I think, is well recorded. It's not the lot of big, it's just not that wall of sound that you heard on Neon God 1. It is well recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And on this time around, Blackie is he's in the mood to talk about foreign policies of the United States, particularly those of the administration we were going through at that time when George W. Bush was our commander-in-chief and our president here in the States. And he pulls no punches here lyrically. If you look at the inside here, there's a lot of pictures of the American flag and a lot of newspaper articles talking about things that were going on in the world at that time that were being proposed by that administration. Excellent pictures on this, I will say. And here's a picture of an explosion. You can't avoid that.
Nope. Looks like almost like here at Hiroshima or something, but yeah, as
Yeah,
big
no
as that
doubt.
mushroom cloud is.
And the American flag with the fists tied together here. And then you got Blackie on the there you go.
And then you get this one where it looks like you're in the middle of Arlington Cemetery right there with all the crosses.
Yeah, that's true. And here's Blackie again. That's a nice shot of him. So, but this is Blackie telling us how he feels about the administration at that time. Lyrics once again very strong throughout. Mercy's the opening track. It's very solid. I think that Blackie brings his screams back in the chorus and they sound really strong. Long Way to Go. This is when he really digs into our commander-in-chief at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Faster paced track. Mike Dupke leading the way with his drums. It's got like a power metal feel, I think this track does. But he's really laying into W at this time, especially and then eventually repeating that bloody bastards line over and over again. He's letting his feelings felt. It is a strong track, but those words really come out at you.
Yes, they do.
Very, very good. Take Me Up. It's a slow track, and then it goes into this cerebral march beats, makes it feel a lot like war. It's another strong track here, which Blackie really enjoyed because, well, he'd bring this bad boy out later. Burning Man sounds like something that would work really well and still not black enough musically.
Mm-hmm.
But lyrically, again, he's getting scathing and going right into how he feels about what's going on at that time. Great pre-chorus with the gallop. He's got the galloping rhythm going on. Mm-hmm. Very powerful track. One of my favorites. It might be my favorite next to this one I'm going to talk about. I think Heaven Hung in Black it's one of the best songs he's ever done.
Mm-hmm.
It is an amazing song. The guitar solo on here, and I mean this, I should say Heaven's Hung in Black. I'm sorry. This guitar solo, when it first kicks in, I think of David Gilmour.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying that as a compliment, because David Gilmour, I mean, he's one of the most emotional guitar players there ever was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his solos will make you cry, and that's how I feel about Doug Blair's solo on here. It is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Blackie's vocals here are amazing. I mean,
yes.
they cut right through you.
Yeah.
What a fantastic song. And I know that John's gonna talk song and verse on this as well. I mean, this would be a top 10 for me. If
easily.
Yeah, top 10 W.A.S.P song for me, easy. Fantastic track. Heaven's Blessed. Another strong driving rocker here. This one's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Teacher's got a very good chorus. another strong track. I mean, these songs, I mean, they after Heaven's Hung in Black, these aren't they're not on that same level, but they're still very good. And then they do the Heaven's Hung in Black reprise. I've talked about how I feel about reprises before. I mean, you already have 714 on the original here, and then they reprise it. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could take or leave a reprise in this thing on this album. Although, like I said, one of my favorite songs by W.A.S.P.
Mm-hmm.
Deal with the Devil, okay closer. 3-chord rocker. And it's probably my least favorite song on the album. It's kind of like what's the song I'm thinking of?
Rock and Roll to Death.
Thank you. Rock and Roll to Death. That's what it reminded me of. I mean, maybe a little better than that.
Yeah.
But overall, I think this is quite good. I mean, the highlights, Burning Man, Heaven's Hung in Black, they're magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
How would I rank it? I'm gonna go 7.5 on this.
Okay.
I think Unholy Terror's a little better, little more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
The highs on here are very high. There's a few songs that are decent, but most of the album is pretty solid. I'm gonna go 7.5. I like the recording, and again, Blackie's vocals and lyrics are top notch, and the rest of the band does a fantastic job as well.
Yes.
7.5.
Yeah. Very solid. Yeah. Good stuff, John. Good stuff. So my take with Dominator is, for some who, if you're not like me, who do read liner notes and things of that nature, when you listen to Mercy and you listen to the lyrics, of course you get that nasty little riff at the start, that lovely detuned riff, that rhythm in that of the intro, and then boom, they just go right into it. It's a little bit different than, say, maybe a Wild Child style entrance where you have the lead guitar thing. Instead, you get this riff thing. Of course,
Right.
eventually does kick in with Mercy. But let's just look at a couple of these lyrics here. I'm gonna take you, lay you face down on my bed, on bloody roses, see you smile. Your screaming heart is bleeding, black and beating loud. You got no prayer, nowhere. There ain't no way out tonight. So part of you kind of makes it. Are you think? Is he wanting to have some kind of like a wild sex night with somebody? No. Unlike Don McLean, who will probably never divulge what American Pie truly is really about. We can all speculate, but he's probably going to take that secret to the grave with him. No, Blackie tells you right here, no, there's deeper pictures going on here. No, he's talking about big country, like United States, big country, England, and they're treating the little countries, almost like they're, I think as he put it in the liners, as their bitch kind of thing. I think is about how he puts it. So it's, and it's like, this is kind of how, you I think as we go into the next couple of albums, those lead tracks, you're going to see, I think, a little bit of a theme kind of thing going on here, because how's this chorus go? I'll make you cry for mercy. I'll make you cry out loud. You're going to lie and curse me, hurt me, burn me now. So there's a few ways you could almost look at that, some of these lines. Again, I don't know where he was in his faith journey, but I mean, a lot of people can say that, when people have their come to Jesus moment, that you're basically crying out for mercy because you're at the end of your rope and you need to go somewhere to find the solace. And so, and no matter how hard it is to give that trust, you are probably gonna lie and curse God while you're doing it, but at the same time, you're gonna come out better for it. We'll tackle in Babylon. You have the song "Crazy." I think. Hang on. Let me make sure Is it Crazy? Yes, Crazy
Yeah,
on
great
Babylon.
singer.
So Crazy on Babylon, and you say you got to be crazy to say you love me. Well, there's a lot of that can kind of go in there too. Scream, I'm gonna make you scream my name. That's on Golgotha. So I think there's like a little bit of a theme going with those opening tracks. Maybe I'm a little off on that, but anyway, Mercy. So yes, I love that detune rhythm, that chugging rhythm. I think Blackie's vocals on it are great. As you said before, on Long Way to Go, yeah, he's not happy with Mr. Bush at this point. In the liner notes again, he says, I couldn't have been more prouder to have been an American after 9/11. After what happened with Katrina and what happened to New Orleans and how the government turned their back on New Orleans, I couldn't have been more disappointed as an American. Now, here's a way. I'm gonna throw this one little thing out, because he kind of looks at America as being like the big bully, okay, especially with how the government treats the smaller countries, or even its own towns, its own cities. So I've just finished watching a series on Netflix recently. It was on the Branch Davidian thing in Waco, and how the FBI and the ATF handled that whole situation. And it's heartbreaking. It is absolutely heartbreaking what happens towards the end of that standoff. If you, for those of you who don't remember the Branch Davidian thing, it was like a cult, and they were all gathered up in this compound, and they were like producing all kinds of crazy weaponry and ammunition and stuff like that, and a lot of it illegally. So they, I guess the government had a good reason to get in there, but they weren't hurting anybody. They really weren't hurting anybody, but they felt that they were a threat. And so when they tried to get in there, well, they paid for it. Yeah, 4 ATF agents got killed at the beginning. They have this long standoff, and then they finally decide to go in there with tanks and start tearing the place down. And then and they start shooting tear gas in there. Well, then all of a sudden, here comes all these fires out of nowhere. It's like, where'd this happen? ATF and FBI said we didn't do it. There's nobody, everybody in the Branch Davidian place, save for a few people, were killed in there. So you don't know. But either way, that whole situation could have been handled so much better. But the government went in there very bullyish almost. So, and Blackie doesn't like a bully. He will be very quick to admit to that. So I think he says that's long way to go. Take Me Up again starts off slow, but then you get that tribal beat, kind of almost Headless Children like feel.
Yes.
And with that slithery riff feel of Shadow Man thrown in there. And it's like, oh golly, another great song, another absolutely great track. Again, I think another one where again, it's just the bigger country, very much a political statement here with all of that. Burning Man, another chugging great track. Again, I think it's just another metaphor for the USA and how they treat the smaller countries. But Heaven's Hung in Black, taken from a quote when Abraham Lincoln was reading over the reports from what happened at the Battle of Gettysburg. It was like almost like the heavens were hung in black, from all the souls that passed away from this whole thing. And again, Blackie uses this allusion and this allegory as like the soldier crying out, "Don't you leave me, don't you hear me? Don't you leave me to die." Thank you. I'm getting so wrapped up in my own self, I don't know what I'm saying. Right. Don't you leave me to die. And here again, I think he's using that as what he was seeing in New Orleans with the Katrina thing and all these people being stranded, and there was nowhere they could go. Please don't leave me to drown. Please don't leave me to die and stuff like that. But Heaven's Hung in Black, probably, oh gosh, I don't even know where I would rank this in my favorite songs by W.A.S.P, but it's definitely in the top 10. You mentioned David Gilmour, and he certainly says David Gilmour was almost really a big influence to him and really how he wanted to steer all of the guitar players into doing solos. These solos that you can literally sing a David Gilmour solo.
You can.
And he says I always wanted to hear it with that kind of feel that you could just sing these things and play that with that kind of emotions that does send the chills down your spine. And Heaven's Hung in Black, both of those solos do just that. The intro is beautiful. I love that somber voice of Blackie's in that. Perfect for the entire song. So wish they could have squeezed that in on the set for this last tour. Oh gosh, I wish they could have done that. Heaven's Blessed. I think this is a little bit of a stab at the prosperity gospel and some of the TV preachers and things of that nature. Still a pretty good track though. Teacher, another political stab there, but again, very strong track. It was a nice little chugger to bring you into that Heaven's Hung in Black reprise. A little bit of different lyrics here, but mostly just very atmospheric with the keyboards, just to bring you back for that wham bams, thank you, man, dealing with the devil, that 3-chord rock and roll, just heavy rock and roll track to end off the CD with, again, with Daryl Roberts on guitar to close it out. But yeah, the team of Dupke, I'm not exactly sure how he pronounces it either, Duda and Blair, they will bring us 2 more albums. I believe Dupke was also on Reidolized. I know he was on Golgotha, but I think he was on Reidolized too. I can't remember. Anyway, that team will be with us for the next few albums. And just so strong stuff there. So I'm going to turn it back to you if you do have some tour stuff, and then I will go back to what the W.A.S.P Nation had to say about this album, because that's going to take me a little bit of time.
Okay.
They had some good things to say about it.
Nice. Thank you, John. And wonderful analysis as always. What's your ranking?
At this point, I'm probably going to say about an 8.
Okay.
Trying to actually rank these albums right now is getting challenging because it's changing a little bit more. And I think by the time I get to my ranking, I might be aggravating some people, because I think certain albums are not going to be as high as one would think they should be.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Now, this was an interesting tour because they started out touring before the album came out in 2006. And based on Setlist FM, they debuted the song Mercy on September 6, 2006 in Bulgaria. Now, for the rest of the year, they didn't play Mercy.
Huh.
They didn't play anything off of Dominator. They just stuck with their, the heavy hitters, the usual suspects, but they did play Hate to Love Me from Unholy Terror, which I love. That's fantastic.
That's good.
Yeah. So then they went back out in 2007. Oh, and by the way, in 2006, they played a few shows here in the States, but it was a lot of the same clubs that they have been hitting. 2007, they primarily were in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
John, you were mentioning the Norwegian charts and how they were getting big again. Norway, they played 8 shows in Norway just for the Dominator tour.
Wow.
Which I found very Oslo, Volda, Trondheim were 3 of them, but they played 8 shows in Norway. I'm like, wow.
I gotta ask my buddy Paul if he was at any of those now.
Yeah. Definitely. But I mean, a lot of the same places they hit in the past. They Newcastle, Liverpool, Leeds, London, Glasgow, Langen, Germany, Stockholm, Paris, Borgerholz, Linköping. I hope I'm saying that right. But interestingly, they played 28 shows of the Dominator tour in 07. And on that tour, they played Take Me Up and Heaven's Hung in Black from Dominator. Those were the only two. Then they come back to Europe and they do the Crimson Idol 15th anniversary, hitting a lot of the same places, but this time they're playing Crimson Idol in its entirety and then playing a 4-song encore, one of those songs was Take Me Up. So they did bring back Take Me Up again. So, well, they didn't. Yeah, okay, they did play it early on with Heaven's Hung in Black. My mistake. But yeah, it was weird because they toured this album, but then they did the 15th anniversary, after a short break in 07. So that was pretty much it. But I mean, Heaven's Hung in Black has come back in more recent tours. On the 40th anniversary tour, the first few dates they were playing Heaven's Hung in Black. I wish that we got to see, you and I got to see that, John.
David Alpazar, you got to see it, you lucky bugger.
No, good for you, David. I'm glad you got to see it. He saw Crazy too, right?
I think so.
Crazy on that tour?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you got to see it, David, out there in California.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was pretty much how the tour went for Dominator. Huh? They did play, like, again, a few shows in 06, but it wasn't necessarily the Dominator tour. They didn't do any of the Dominator tour.
Yeah.
Right before the album, when the album came out.
Right. Yeah, because I think this was supposed to really come out in 2006, but for some reason it got scrubbed and got a remix and stuff like that. And there were stories that there was like a couple of covers recorded for this, like one that shows up on Babylon, which was Burn from Deep Purple. But then they also did Fortunate Son.
Yeah, I read that. Well,
does it exist? Is there a recording of it somewhere?
I'm not sure.
Don't know. For all you meet and greet people, ask him about that. Why didn't he ever release Fortunate Son? But anyway, so let me just kind of go into what the W.A.S.P Nation has to say, because they were pretty vocal. They were fairly vocal about this one. So Joe Leister, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. It was the start of a trilogy of albums that sound exactly the same. This album is generic by W.A.S.P standards, not terrible, but not very memorable for me. So you have that. David Cumming, it's the second half of the album. If the second half of the album was as good as the first 5 songs, it would be right up there. Great songwriting, exceptional playing. Blackie sounds great, but I think misses that anger in his voice that the songs deserve. Overall, still a great album. I don't know. I think he was pretty vitriolic on some of the stuff, but still good thoughts. Blake Snow, this album suckered me in. I listened to about 2 or 3 tracks and continued until it was over. Blackie was voicing his displeasure with George W. as president. Iraq war was raging. I was 6 when this came out, so he was a youngie. This guy was a young one when he came out. So I didn't know about much about all that stuff until now. I guess 21. He's 21 now. So Blackie voicing his thoughts in anger about the Iraq war and foreign policies of the time. I look at it like a concept album, but it's a weird one. It's a different step from the Neon God for sure. Andy Roberts gives me a couple of different things here. I have every W.A.S.P album, but in my opinion, Dominator, Babylon, Golgotha are by far the best albums, but with awesome lyrics, sung by Blackie at his best, and drums by Mike, and not to mention awesome guitar solos by Mr. Doug Blair. I think the only better album is the masterpiece that is the Crimson Idol. He also would say that in his opinion, probably one of the best albums ever by W.A.S.P. Lyrics are strong and meaningful. Interestingly enough, so the first guy I mentioned, Joe Leister, he felt that is the exact reason why he hates those albums, is because of the Blair Dupke Duda combination. So I can't please everybody, I guess. Let's see. Graham Mitchell. This is a very strong album with some of the most thought-provoking lyrics put onto paper. Heavens Hung in Black is a reflection of the countless deaths happening around the world due to pointless conflicts created by men hell-bent with power. Yes, that's a great way of putting it. Mercy is a cracking opening track, and yes, we are begging for mercy. Teacher is a message to those who proclaim to teach correct morals, but in reality are in it just for themselves. He needs to get this in his player and crank it up the volume. Yes, I completely agree. Lee Jacob. Now I'm gonna try. He really went all out. I should have gotten him on the show for this one because he really gives a very detailed one. So I'm gonna try and just hit some little high spots here. So something epic happened before this album and after the release of Neon God, and that's when I discovered W.A.S.P. Brings an important factor, the lineup changed with it. So he likes Doug Blair and Mike Duda and Mike Dupke with it, or especially. He thinks Mike Dupke was the quintessential W.A.S.P. Drummer, even though everybody, he says, yeah, everybody loves Frankie and Stet, but he felt like Mike was the quintessential W.A.S.P. drummer, not because he's harder and faster, just because he felt like he really did well with Mike Duda on bass. Made for a great rhythm section. Doug's playing is fantastic. Leads on solos on Take Me Up, Burning Man, Long Way to Go, Heaven's Blessed, Mercy are amazing. Some of my favorites. Man plays with passion, and feeling, and employs every trick in the guitar player's manual. Mind-bogglingly good. Let's see. Best lyrics that he's ever written. Of course, with all the different policies and and everything like that. Burning Man and Teacher don't mince words, getting as pointed as blunt as you can. That's why we like Blackie so much. He's politically incorrect and damn proud of it, as he says in Still Not Black, or Goodbye America. No. Yeah, Black Forever. Anyway, or Goodbye America. Anyway, right. Goodbye America from Still Not Black Enough could have been easily recorded with Doug Duda and Dupke and thrown on this album. That would be pretty cool. So yeah, if you combine this album with the next two plus Crimson Isle, you have what my ears grab. 10 out of 10. So fantastic stuff there. Maria Grazia Ferri, my new Italian friend that I love reading her stuff for. The first time I listened to The Burning Man, I couldn't get it out of my head. Simply amazing. Other wonderful songs are Take Me Up, just for the beautiful metaphor. Heavens Hung in Black, perfect. Teacher, absolutely one of my favorite W.A.S.P. albums. Eric Jordan, RMCP, dude, this album rules, and it's my second favorite W.A.S.P. album of all time. Every song is perfect. Take Me Up is one of the sexiest, most badass songs ever written in the history of music. I love that. Senny Lindqvist. I apologize if I didn't get your name right. It took me nearly 10 years to realize that this is my absolute favorite album. I get the brilliance of Crimson Idol, Headless, and all that, and I really love those records, but this is the one that I always go back to and never stop enjoy listening to, with tracks like Mercy, Your Long Way to Go, Take Me Up, the mighty progressive Heavens Hung in Black, which is killer live, by the way. Rub it in, Senny, rub it in. And Deal with the Devil. They set a big milestone for in the band's career. To me, the four albums previous to Dominator wasn't very good, and I believe that it had something to do with that they weren't a very happy band at the time, which I hate to say, as I have the highest respect for both. I guess he's friends with Stet, but also for Frankie, and with Doug and Dupke bringing fresh blood and new ideas to the table. Let's see. That's okay. That must be all I had there. I guess that was the last line. Okay, so I didn't get all of his thoughts there, but anyway, you get the idea. The fans, there's some fans who love it, some fans that don't. This is where I'm seeing the fans who I guess they like that earlier stuff, that maybe this stuff is a little too safe sounding as far as musically, but certainly Blackie is not safe sounding in the lyrics. He definitely is pushing some envelopes, and he is getting his frustrations out. So again, another album that I really just took to heart and really dug into as I was listening to, and just really trying to listen to straight with the headphones, because I think this is a well done album. It's not that noisy clashing that you get with Neon God Part 1. At least this was nicer on the ears. It didn't totally sound like 2000s production, but it still had a warm enough feel, but it wasn't like overpowering. So I will say they did a wonderful job with that. And yeah, I would have loved to have caught that tour, but it didn't come anywhere. I did look on that. It didn't come anywhere close to me. But then again, I still wasn't yet back to the band. So that's going to come with Babylon, which I might as well just hold that up right now. Well, this is going to be the next one that we talk about. It's good old Babylon. Absolutely. That's what brings me back to the fold. But I'll share more on that when we do this next week. So, all right. So any parting thoughts, anything you need to plug, anything along those lines?
This Thursday, if you watch Grant's Rock Warehouse, Grant Arthur, Byron Bolt, and I will be talking about Archangel's only album that was from 1992.
Okay.
Archangels was the rhythm section of Double Trouble, Chris Whipper Layton and Tommy Shannon, along with Charlie Sexton and Doyle Brumhall II. They put out one album in 92. It got played a lot on AOR Rock Radio. Don't get me started on how great AOR used to be, and now it stinks.
Thanks.
But we're doing a live chat on there Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. So it'll be the night after this show premieres.
Okay.
Friday, I'm filming a show that will be run later on Rock Daydream Nation with Peter Kerr. We'll also have Mr. Joe Beck or Joe B on there as well. And we're going to talk about what do we like more, David Lee Roth's Eat 'Em and Smile or Van Halen's 5150. They were both released in 1986. So I'll be on that show Friday, and that will probably come out a week or two after that. And I'll be here every Wednesday for a few more weeks.
For a few more weeks, yeah.
At least a few more weeks, because we got some ideas going on after about W.A.S.P. So there you go.
Well, let's see. What have I got to push? So my little gang of folks, the North and South Rock and Metal Connection. So we got together. As I said, we are recording this on Sunday. So the North and South Rock and Metal Connection, we usually do our stuff on Saturday nights. That just seems to work better for those guys. So we recorded last night. I usually put that out the following day. So by the time this hits YouTube, you can watch the Rock and Metal Connection, North and South Rock and Metal Connection, talk about their favorite metal album of all time. We just decided to keep a simple topic and not get too carried away. We actually kept it under an hour. Actually, we kept it under 45 minutes, which is even better. But so that was it was a great show. It was great to get back together with those guys because we hadn't done a show for a while. Everybody's had a lot of life going on. So I have that to plug. Let's see. I've got something coming up with Grant as well. We're going to be doing a ranking of, I think this is going to be the finale of the April Wine series. I think we've been doing for like a year. It seems like it anyway. And we're going to be ranking the April Wine albums. So I'm getting my list finalized for that. I've got some stuff coming up with Bicycle Legs. I'm not sure if I'm doing that one just yet. I'm not. The topic is an interesting one, and I'm not sure I have anything to contribute to it. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do that one just yet. But it's going to be anything with Bicycle Legs is always a good show. I do have something. I have something come up with Peter, but I believe my thing got pushed back about a week. But that'll be coming. It's going to be another Rock Postcards show, which those are always so much fun. It's where he gives me a band from Australia to check out. I give him an American band, which actually the one I gave him, I need to start listening to a little bit too, because I need to make some notes on it. So I'm a little clear up on it myself. But anyway, and I got to make notes on the one he gave me. But that's about it. That's about all I have to really. I don't have much else down the pike. I thought there was like more than that, but I guess I just have a lot of other life things happening that's keeping me from doing this kind of stuff. So
yeah.
But yeah, be sure to check out the North and South Rock and Metal Connection. We love talking. We hope we entertain you guys with what we talk about and just how everybody's personality is. I love those guys to death. They're all great folks. The one of the cool things that really got that started was I'm wearing an Iron Maiden shirt. So the Iron Maiden played over in Atlanta back in 2019, and I knew they were going, and I was like, I think I gotta go. I need to go see this concert. So I got to the venue and I started walking around. It was like an outdoor general admission thing. And I got walking around. I was looking for him, and I finally caught up to him. And we all, except for the guy from the north, because he's in Canada. The rest of us, the four of us, all got on the hill, and we watched the show from the grass on this outdoor venue. So that was pretty cool. It was great seeing Maiden again, because I hadn't seen him since the World Slavery Tour. So I always reference this guy Paul from Norway. Well, he's seen him like over 160 some times, and he's got 10 more shows he's going to go see over in Europe and stuff. So he's building that number up. So I gotta get some good conversation with him next time I talk to him or see him, which I don't know when he's coming to the States again, but he's a good guy. But anyway, not to turn this into an Iron Maiden show, because we probably could. But then I'd have to get Tyler from LP Tremors and Peter Jones on here, and then we could all have a Maiden thing, and yeah, that'll just get all kinds of crazy. So with that being said, for my fellow Burning Man, my fellow angel hung in black, my fellow man who's done the deal with the devil, my fellow teacher, my fellow man that's going to cry out for mercy, my fellow Dominator, John the Music Nut, John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from my music corner. We just talked about Dominator, but next week you got to be crazy if you say you love me. So we're going to talk about that next week. Until then, peace out.
Take care. Thanks.